college football halftime show presented by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Muss. I'm Erin Sharoni here with Leroy Horde. Leroy, we're living Muss with plenty of action on tap today in college football. All right. Arkansas at Texas A&M. Score right now is 21-14, just back from the half. It's been a great game so far, and it was especially good right before halftime. So we're going to check out some highlights right here. All right, starting off here, Brandon Williams with a 13-yard touchdown run for the first TD of the game, making it 7-0 A&M. Here's Jonathan Williams with a 9-yard touchdown run, tying it up at 7. Alex Collins, here he goes with a 50-yard touchdown run. Going and gone. 14-7 Arkansas. Here's Kenny Hill with an 8-yard touchdown pass to Edward Pope.
That's a good play right there.
Yep, look at that beautiful catch. 14-14. And now here's Josh Lambo's missed 40-yard field goal attempt for Texas A&M. And that's when the pendulum swung.
Missed field goal and then
a fake punt. And Sam Irwin Hall takes it, runs it in for a touchdown, 51 yards, giving Arkansas the lead.
Every play will tell you, from in between the 40s, always look for a little trickeration.
That's what you
Either
said, yeah.
offensively or special teams. That's the area, because you don't really lose anything if you screw it up in between the 40s.
And also, that missed field goal, like you pointed out earlier, seemed like it was a turning point. I mean, everything swung in Arkansas's favor right after that.
Right. I mean, Texas A&M thought they were going to take the lead. Their defense is over on the sideline doing, whatever, getting ready for a kickoff, and he misses it. They got to go on the field, and it happens. I see it happen all the time.
Definitely some psychology there at play. All right, Thursday night we saw UCLA remain undefeated as they smoked Arizona State 62-27. UCLA QB Brett Hundley is our Taco Bell MVP this week after returning to action to throw for 355 yards and 4 touchdowns. Oh, and also a TD on the ground. Leroy, does UCLA have what it takes to contend for a national championship?
I don't know, but if you complete 18 passes out of 23 for 355 yards. I don't have a calculator, but that average per completion is pretty high.
You're the math major, though.
Yeah.
Is that a rusty skill?
Yeah, it's double digits. Let's put it that way. They do. Here's the problem. You got Oregon. You got to deal with. Have they played Stanford yet? And that's really it. One of those 3 teams are going to contend. You're going to the winner of the Pac-10. The winner of the Big Ten, which will probably be Michigan State, the SEC champion. I mean, if Florida State doesn't win it, you can exclude them. So I think it's between, Florida State and the Big Ten. So if Florida State doesn't win the ACC, then Michigan State, if they win the Big Ten, can be a representative. But other than that, you're looking at the Power 5 conferences.
Speaking of Florida State, NC State, score right now is 24-21. What do you think of that game?
NC State always plays Florida State well. I mean, I don't care what the rankings are, how the teams are. It just always seems to be a tight game. They're playing at NC State, and, they start off to a big lead. It looks like Florida State is, coming back, and it looks like they have a chance to kind of take control of this game. All
right, final score of Tennessee-Georgia. Georgia won that one, 35-32. Tennessee obviously kept it close, but Georgia's on a roll, right?
Yeah, I mean, Georgia, this game showed me more about where Tennessee's going than where Georgia's going. Tennessee's actually improving. Georgia, they don't look like the team that we all thought they were earlier in the year. They lost to South Carolina. We were starting to think, maybe South Carolina was really good, but this is more of an indication of maybe Georgia's not as good as we thought they were.
All right, now NC State, by the way, just scored a touchdown after we touched on that last score. They scored a touchdown. So just to update everybody.
31-21. Florida State better get it going.
That's right.
Yeah.
If they're going to win, just like you said, I don't know. All right, Wyoming-Michigan State, that final. Michigan State obviously blew them out 56-14, even though that line was, I think, 30-something.
Yeah.
56-14. Like you said, in picking that game, it's low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit. Michigan State is one of those real physical, real aggressive, run-the-ball type of teams. Kind of like what Arkansas, does. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play action you. They're going to try to get after you defensively. And, you know, Texas A&M is going to have their hands full.
Just to update everybody, Stanford-Washington is tied 13 at the half. You know that makes me very happy.
That makes
Leroy.
you very happy. Washington has a chance.
That's right, after they got that touchdown called off. But anyway, all right. We're going to head to a break, but remember, everybody, download the CBS Sports app for instant scores, stats, and late-breaking news from all of today's games. Get it now at cbssportsapp.com. And, of course, stick around because Leroy and I will be back with more good stuff right after this commercial break. Welcome back to the College Football Halftime Show presented by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. I'm Erin Sharoni here with Leroy Horde. Don't forget, guys, we've got SEC Live next week as Alabama travels to Oxford to take on Leroy's favorite, Ole Miss. Live coverage begins at 3:25 right here on CBSSports.com, so don't miss it. Speaking of Alabama, Leroy, after downing Florida last week, they're off this week before their showdown with your pick. I'm going to keep referring to them as that, by the way.
I would be – here's – you know Alabama's going to be ready. You know they're going to be well prepared, and they have an extra week. So if Ole Miss has any chance of winning this game, they're going to have to keep building. They're going to have to keep building because they're going to have to stop Alabama offensively, and they're going to have to do something, you know, offensively themselves with Bo Wallace. He's got to get better and keep progressing. Alabama's a lot better offensively and not as good defensively.
Just real quick, though, I'm curious because obviously you played both college and the pros. If you're on a roll, does it break your steam to take a break, or is it helpful to get some rest?
Rest is always good in a physical contact sport. So you get a chance to rest. In college, they work on things and improve things, and you have an extra week to game plan. Maybe you don't work as hard. The NFL, definitely, you need the rest. If you can get a week off, it's going to always help.
Yep.
But in college, you get, you know, extra week to get better, you know. So you have to understand that a lot of times these college coaches are developing players as you go on. So spring ball, the bowl practices. So anytime they get an opportunity to practice a couple of more times a week to get ready for a game, it's going to make their team better.
SEC West is a crowded space, as we said before. Yes. But is Alabama the best team there? What do you think?
I think now? You could give it to them right now, but I'll say this, that the best team might not win the SEC West.
Okay, fair enough.
Because, you know, they play each other. Somebody could end up having a hot week, and somebody could have a poor week and end up behind that team. So Alabama right now, I'll give it to them because they have the pedigree. LSU doesn't look good. Other than that, you know, everybody has a chance.
All right, just to update everybody on the Arkansas-Texas A&M game, score there is 21-14. Big game tonight in the SEC East as Missouri travels to South Carolina. For more on the game, let's check in with the College Football Today crew in New York.
Hey there, Adam Zucker, Spencer Tillman, and Brian Jones from our College Football Today studios in New York. Our CBSSports.com spotlight tonight shining on Missouri at number 13, South Carolina. Mizzou suffered a stunning home loss to Indiana last week. South Carolina survived Vanderbilt, but left Steve Spurrier saying, "The way we play is embarrassing," end quote. After two subpar performances, guys, who bounces back tonight?
Well, listen, both of them better bounce back because South Carolina's got issues of their own. You know, BJ, they had major problems on special teams, a couple of returns back. But this is about Missouri and Matty Mark, their quarterback. If he can have success on that first down scenario where he's 81%, that's going to set up his running back situation. And that's where Russell Hansborough is going to really come off in a big way. They need to achieve that balance because right now their head is not in this game. You can see it. It's lack of maturity. You see it showing up on special teams. You see it showing up in the penalties that they had. They had 10 penalties in that loss that you referenced last week against Indiana. That was at Faurot Field, so that's at home. That team is not focused right now.
And Missouri going up against South Carolina, it's the only team in the SEC East they have yet to defeat since they've been a member of the SEC. But you look at South Carolina, you mentioned it, Coach Spurrier is highly upset with his football club. The worst victory he's ever had as a head coach. But I tell you what, it starts on that defensive side of the ball. They have been so woeful. They're the worst in the SEC right now. They can't get off the field. Teams are converting 57% of their third down conversions on this football team. But I love what Dylan Thompson is doing at the quarterback position. 11 touchdown passes on the season. He's got some pieces to work with as well at the receivers. Farrell Cooper, a dynamite performance last week in the victory over Vanderbilt, almost 200 all-purpose yards. You like Nick Jones also. These guys are some playmakers, so get the ball to them. That running game has not been up to stuff, but they've got something else they can lean on, and that's the passing game.
Well, Lorenzo Ward, I think you hit it just a minute ago, the defensive coordinator. He's the one that's got to get that hemorrhaging kind of checked out, because if they don't, they're going to rush over them all day.
Yeah, they're 111th in yards allowed right now in the country. So look forward to that one. Remember, we're going to be with you on Saturday afternoons all season here on College Football Today.
All right, Leroy, we know what our guys over in New York think about all this, but what do you think? Is South Carolina the best team in the SEC East?
Again, right now, yes, because they beat Georgia, and we thought that those would be the two teams to compete for the East. But until they put a string of games where they play well, after a big win,
right?
And then put a string together where they're just consistently getting better. Now, for the last couple of years, every time they've had a big game, they've turned around and played poorly the next week and lost games that maybe they shouldn't lose. So it'll be interesting to see if they can start stringing them together, if they can start playing good football week after week after week.
Something time will tell in this
Sure,
particular case.
Absolutely.
Now, you said Missouri's been holding their own. You said that off camera to me, and that's certainly the case. How good is their quarterback, Matty Muck?
Well, I mean, if you look at what he's done, he moves the ball for him. He puts them in good positions. He throws the ball consistently. They just they have moments in games where they don't show up. And so from that standpoint, last year, it seemed like they could get it going, and they scored a ton of points, held their own with any SEC school. This year, they've struggled at times. They lost to Indiana just out of the blue.
Right.
So I think, if they can get some consistency, they have the talent to compete and play well in the SEC, but they just haven't done it over a period of time this year.
All right, before we go, you know what I'm going to ask. Put you on the spot every time, my friend. Your quick prediction here.
I'm going to say South Carolina because they're playing at home. And so you have when playing at home, you have an opportunity, or you have the crowd behind you, and you're more likely to play closer to your best football.
By the way, Florida State now trailing 31-28.
They're making a little comeback.
So it's better than before. Right. All right, that'll do it for us, folks. Thanks for joining us. Remember to keep it right here on CBSSports.com for the best college football coverage. I'm Erin Shironi with Leroy Horde. Catch us in the postgame.